History isn't always honest. In fact, it straight up lies to us. So let's talk about the truth behind these false facts. What? Hello, and welcome to the show about fun facts and a little bit of science. Today, we are talking about 7 things you learned in school that are no longer true. Now, of course, we learned things like Columbus discovered America, which is not true, but these are fun facts, not depressing ones. Because this show is supposed to be fun. Number 1, would you believe it? We all grew up hearing the story that the first president of the United States, George Washington, had wooden teeth. While it's true he didn't have many natural teeth left, it's not true that they were wooden. In fact, when he gave his first inaugural address in 1789, he did have a full mouth of teeth, but only one was his own. Yeah. It's exactly what it sounds like. He had plenty of teeth. They were just made up of like ivory, gold, and lead. It's believed that people thought they were wood because the ivory bits were super stained. But don't worry, because it gets worse. He had dentures made up of other things like cow and horse teeth. He also saved his own teeth when they were extracted and then purchased other human teeth to make a set of custom chompers. That's disgusting. But first, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes, and leave a comment down below to let me know what you would like to see in the next video. Number 2, witches be crazy. It has long been believed that witches were burned at the stake. In actuality, that didn't happen. The go-to method of killing witches was hanging. Of course, we know that witches were not real, but doctors at the time would blame strange behaviors on supernatural afflictions. Not very good doctors, it seems. And during the Salem Witch Trials, there were actually 5 men that were hung, which goes well against the story that they were all women, as we were led to believe. Number 3, we have 8 planets, or 9, or 13. Many of us still want to cling on to Pluto as being a planet, giving us a total of 9. But the fact is, we have 8: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, but not Pluto. It was later changed from planet to just an object in the Kuiper Belt, which is a region in our solar system made up of asteroids and icy objects. Eventually, in 2006, it would be reclassified as a dwarf planet along with Ceres, which most of us probably never heard of. Ceres was believed to be a planet way back in 1801 before losing its title, which is probably why we never heard about it in school. Or I just didn't pay attention. So that would be either 8, or 9, or 10. So where does 13 come in? Well, NASA has found 3 other dwarf planets in the Kuiper Belt where Pluto is. The weirdest part is that they believe there could be hundreds more that haven't been identified yet. Number 4, right-brained versus left-brained. If you're artsy-fartsy, then you must be right-brained. If you're a big-brained science lover, then you must be left-brained. Well, you must not be very good at your science, Mr. Left Brain, because we all use both sides. There is no scientific evidence to support the theory that different people would have a primary side of the brain. It's all nonsense. While we do know that the left side of the brain is associated with things like logic, math, and words, and the right is more for imagination, arts, and rhythm, it does not mean we have to have a dominant side of our brains. The 2 sides of our brain are tied together by nerve fibers, which help send information back and forth. They work in tandem to allow us to function regardless of whether we prefer to paint or solve math problems. When you are listening to someone speak, your left brain is converting the language to something you understand, and the right side is helping you understand the context and tone. Oh, and while we're on brains, we use way more than 10%. In fact, we are often using most of it. Now, I should clarify, I know several people where most of it is still 10%. Number 5, you can't have a Napoleon Complex. I should know. Many people will make jokes to short people that they have a Napoleon Complex, which is a theorized inferiority complex normally attributed to people of short stature. It is characterized by overly aggressive or domineering social behavior, such as lying about your earnings, all to make up for the fact that they're short. It comes from the belief that Napoleon Bonaparte was a tiny man, and since he was a real piece of work, short people must be angry because they are short. However, Napoleon wasn't short. In fact, He was average height for his time, right up there with Tom Cruise and me at 5 feet 7 inches. Number 6, I taste deception. Your tongue doesn't actually have sections for different tastes. We have been led to believe that sour things, for example, are more potent on certain parts of the tongue compared to salty foods. It's just not true, though. The receptors on your tongue are distributed evenly across your tongue. The map of the tongue concept came from 1901 when a German scientist published his study in a paper. We just kept passing that data along for generations like a bunch of dummies. Number 7, you light up my life with lies. In January 1879, Edison invented the light bulb. Well, his version of the light bulb. As always, history books tend to bend information. Go back to 1802, 77 years prior to Edison, and you will see a man named Humphrey Davy working on the first electric light bulb using charcoal electrodes. In 1840, a British scientist, Warren de la Rue, made a light bulb that utilized coiled platinum, but it was just far too expensive to be successful. Then, in 1860, Joseph Swan made a working prototype of a light bulb using carbonized paper filaments. Edison saw the flaw in Swan's light bulb and improved it by changing the filament. Swan made the same changes that Edison did, and after a couple of lawsuits, they ended up joining forces to form Edison-Swan United, which became the largest manufacturer of light bulbs in the world. So, while he made the better option, he certainly wasn't the inventor. Who do you think should get all the credit for inventing the first light bulb? As always, thanks for watching, and what did you learn today?